The Genius Club with Prairie Pine. Chapter 40. The Princess. Now, all kinds of information about the Genius Club were quite elusive, and the only physical evidence Alex had ever seen was the invitation letter Emma had received. Seeing Derek in such an unexpected place made Alex feel like an ant falling into a dark vortex, tossing and turning in confusion as he tried to make sense of the situation. He decided to wait and see first, to find out what Derek was really here for, so he stood aside and pretended to be a bystander watching the commotion unfold around him. There were also many East Sion University students standing around, and as an alumnus, who had just graduated half a year ago, Alex could naturally blend in with the crowd and hide in plain sight. But unlike Alex, who was watching out of curiosity, the students nearby showed no extra surprise at the appearance of the 3 luxury cars and Derek, as if it were a common sight that they had grown accustomed to over time. Derek has come to send his daughter to school in person again. He really spoils this little princess, one student commented, while another asked, "By the way, why doesn't he drive his car directly into the campus? With his status and position, how dare the security guard stop him?" A third student chimed in. His daughter must have strongly objected. Otherwise, with how much Derek spoils his daughter, he would probably send her directly to her dormitory door. Sigh. Having such a clingy dad can be annoying sometimes, even if he's an overbearing CEO, one female student joked, and her friend added, Derek's power and status are far more than just an overbearing CEO. It can only be said that every strong person has their weakness, and the only person in the entire East Sea City who can tame this big shot is this little princess. Alex pricked up his ears to listen to the gossip, and it soon became clear that he had misunderstood Derek. He hadn't come to find Ethan Hughes at all, but rather to send his daughter to school. But Alex had heard years ago that Derek was a doting father, and Emma had also complained about this trait of Derek's at the dinner party last time, though he hadn't paid much attention to it then. But besides knowing that Derek doted on his daughter, Alex knew nothing about the girl herself, and he also had no extra interest in learning more. From the mouths of the surrounding students, especially the female students, Alex learned that this little princess had enrolled in September this year and was currently a freshman at East Sea University. From everyone's discussions, it seemed that this little princess had a good reputation at school. She was easy to get along with, very low-key, and never flaunted her family background. If it weren't for Derek's grand appearances to pick her up and drop her off later, no one would have known she was Derek's daughter until the military training was over, which only added to her likable image. They say curiosity is human nature, and Alex was no exception. He couldn't help but take 2 steps closer, finding a side-view angle that allowed him to catch a glimpse of Derek's daughter, eager to see what the girl who had tamed East Sea City's most powerful man looked like. Across the road, a scene completely contradicting Derek's usual persona was unfolding before his eyes. The usually imposing and arrogant Derek, who never bowed to anyone, was now smiling warmly as he slowly walked around half the car, walked to the right side of the Maybach, and opened the car door personally, his movements gentle and attentive. Then he urged the person inside the car a few times, his tone sounding a little impatient, but the doting look on his face couldn't be hidden. There was not a trace of real complaint in his voice. Seeing this highly contrasting scene, Alex shook his head, amused and helpless, realizing that the rumors about Derek being a doting father were not exaggerated at all. It seemed the rumors were true, and even a little understated. This man, who was the most untouchable in East Sea City, who both openly and secretly had the most say in the city, and who was always proud and arrogant, never bowing to anyone, completely softened when facing his beloved daughter. Words like attentive and fawning were not an overstatement at all when describing Derek's behavior toward his daughter. He looked like any ordinary father who would do anything for his little girl, setting aside all his pride and power for her. Finally, the little princess inside the car seemed to be ready, and Derek bent down gently to take the school bag from the car, slinging it over his arm before stepping back with a bright smile, making room for her to get out. A fluffy high ponytail popped out of the car door first, soft and shiny, with slightly permed natural curls tied high with a hair tie, making it look fluffy and elastic. As the girl tiptoed out of the car, her ponytail bounced with each step, exuding a vibrant, youthful energy that was contagious. She was wearing a red cashmere scarf and a long white coat, and due to the angle, her lower body was blocked by the Maybach, so Alex couldn't see what she was wearing on her bottom. High ponytail, red scarf, white coat. These three things didn't bring Alex the expected anticipation and shock he had imagined. They were just ordinary outfits that could be seen everywhere on campus. As early as a few years ago, when Alex was in university, many girls liked to dress this way, simple yet elegant. Overall, this little princess gave Alex a somewhat unremarkable impression, looking like just an ordinary female college freshman with no airs or pretense. She's really low-key, not a bit showy, Alex thought to himself. She seems like a good girl, gentle and down-to-earth. Just now, Alex had been imagining what Derek's daughter would look like. Maybe a willful young lady with a fancy wardrobe, or a cold beauty who kept everyone at a distance. As it turned out, it was both unexpected and reasonable that she was such a simple, ordinary girl, which made her even more endearing. Unfortunately, the little princess kept her back to Alex's side, so he couldn't see her face and didn't know what she looked like, though he didn't feel too disappointed. Her low-key and gentle demeanor had already left a good impression on him. It seems Derek has raised his daughter very well, Alex mused. He spoils her, but he hasn't raised her into the kind of willful young lady you see in TV dramas. Across the road, Alex watched as the little princess took her school bag from Derek's hand and slung it over her shoulder, her movements light and youthful. Then she waved to her father, a bright smile on her face, before turning and running towards the campus gate, her fluffy ponytail bouncing as she ran. Alex stared at that bouncing ponytail until she walked into the campus and disappeared from sight. It was really mesmerizing. A small, lively detail that perfectly captured the innocence and vitality of youth. After the little princess's figure disappeared, the kind smile on Derek's face faded instantly, and he immediately returned to his usual stern look, exuding authority even without anger. He waved to the bodyguards, who got into the cars in an orderly manner, and the 3 luxury cars soon drove away in a 2-1 formation, leaving the campus gate quiet again. At this time, the voices of the surrounding students' discussions became significantly louder, as everyone relaxed now that Derek was gone. Many boys joked that whoever could win over this little princess would definitely achieve great success in life, constantly urging the people around them to work up the courage to talk to her, though their teasing was harmless. But it could be heard that even though they were joking, these people knew how to keep a proper distance, and no one dared to talk nonsense about Derek's daughter. This was probably Derek's unique prestige in East Sea City. If he joked about Derek himself, he might laugh it off and not take it seriously at all. But if you made excessive jokes about his daughter, the consequences would be unthinkable. All right, the gossip is over, Alex said to himself, straightening up. Time to get down to business. He held the bound manuscripts in his hand tightly, took a deep breath, and walked into the gate of EC University with the crowd, the familiar campus scenery bringing back a flood of memories from his university days, though he had no time to linger. After figuring out that Derek hadn't come for Ethan Hughes, Alex's worries eased a lot, and he felt a weight lift off his shoulders. The mysteries related to the Genius Club could be investigated slowly later, when he had more time and clues. The most urgent task now was to quickly hand over the copied hibernation materials to Ethan Hughes, as this was the key to rewriting the future and changing the dream world that had been haunting him. Alex rode a campus shared bike, the cool breeze brushing his face, and soon found the laboratory building, which looked the same as he remembered it. After asking the doorman for directions, he went directly to the second floor, his steps quick yet steady, and soon found Ethan Hughes' laboratory. Through the window, Alex saw the messy-looking man tinkering with a microscope, completely absorbed in his work. Ethan Hughes was still wearing a white lab coat and thick glasses, just like when they met at the hospital that day, his hair messy and his face tired, a clear sign that he had been working tirelessly on his research. He was studying very carefully, his eyes fixed on the microscope, and he didn't notice Alex's arrival at all. Alex took a deep breath, calming his nerves. He knew Ethan Hughes was stubborn, and he wasn't sure if the man would even look at the manuscripts. He walked to the half-open laboratory door, raised his hand, and rapped his knuckles against the wooden door gently. Knock, knock.